Haha! Now we're cooking with fire. Hello? Can you hear me? Yeah? Huh? You excited to be here? Yeah? Oh, welcome! Welcome so much. Welcome to the Machine Learning UX Meetup. We're so excited to have you. This is the first time I'm doing this, clearly. Yes, if you're in the wrong place, that's okay. I'll close my eyes. You can leave. Okay. Welcome. Hi. We're so excited to be here in this beautiful venue, the Capgemini Applied Innovation Exchange. And if you aren't familiar with this space, it is a startup incubator for a bunch of really cool startups. And we're going to hear a little bit about this space in a moment. But we actually have another company coming in to speak with us about their best practices, Clinc. I'm particularly excited about this because they do a lot of really cool work around chatbots, voice user interfaces, conversational design, and applications in not only enterprises but things that are consumer facing. And I have really wanted to host. I don't know how many of you this is your first MLUX. Oh, wow. Hey, welcome back. I mean, to all the new people, welcome for the first time, but to the other people, welcome back. Super excited to see so many familiar faces. But as you may know, we have not done a chatbots one. And if you think about MLUX, probably chatbots is one of the first things that comes to mind, right? But we've been going for 2 years now. So we're really excited to focus today solely on chatbots, voice user interface design, multimodal best practices. So yeah, and I'm sure by now you have the Wi-Fi and the password because that's been up for a hot second. Just some quick logistics. Doors open. We did some socializing. We got some food. Yeah, cool. I'm going to do a quick overview as to what is MLUX. Could you tell them to be a little bit quieter? Then Capgemini is going to do a welcome, and then we're going to turn it over to Clinc, who's going to share their best practices, kind of a little bit about how they approach these types of problems. Then we will do a panel discussion. If you are not familiar with how we typically do panel discussions, we don't do live panel Q&As. We actually have you tweet them in. So if you have your phone, you can follow us at MLUX SF, and that's how you're going to be able to tweet us in. And then we'll have some social hour. Does that sound good? Yeah? Cool. Sounds like a fun time. Sweet. Logistics too. Restrooms are just around behind here, so they're back that way. And the exit is that way. And it's very hot outside, so thank you, Capgemini, for having great AC. Great. So, hi, I'm Michelle, like I mentioned. I know that I'm the only one standing up here right now, but actually we have a whole team of folks, like a steering committee, who help guide us, help volunteer. You might recognize some of these faces as some of the folks who checked you in tonight, as well as some of the folks who might be taking some photos today. I could not do this without all of the fantastic folks who helped make this possible, so big shout out to all those people. So thanks, I appreciate you. Yeah, you. Also, big shout out to our one-off volunteers, Claudia, Irina, Anmal, Bob, who wrote an article about our last event, and a bunch of other people who have helped out in a bunch of different ways. If you're at all interested in volunteering, please come see me. We would love to have you as a volunteer, but yeah, just wanted to give a shout out that this takes a village to run, and it is also free. So thank you all for your time and energy and support. I also want to give a shout out to, this is a fellowship project through the Center for Technology, Society, and Policy in conjunction with the Algorithmic Fairness and Opacity Working Group. Long names, but they're very cool organizations, do a bunch of really interesting things. If you're interested in learning more too, they're actually doing a big event in October 22nd, so check out our Twitter account. We'll be posting more about that. It'll be at Google SF, about cool projects, innovation projects that they've been working on. So this project will be featured because we were a fellowship project, so shout out to them for helping, in the spirit of startups, give us seed money. Yeah? Sorry, I'm making direct eye contact with the Clinc people. So shout out to them for giving us seed money. But really quickly, can we just say thank you to Capgemini and Clinc? Can we give them a big round of applause? This space is awesome. The food was fantastic, and this would not be possible without all the people listed up here. Brady, who is our point of contact for Capgemini, Himi, Emma, Alex, Laurent, Ava also from Clinc too, so thank you all so much, and also Karen too from Talview, who will be on our panel. Really just thank you so much to all those people. Also thank you to Laurent, who is on our leadership team, who helped us organize this event. So like I mentioned, I am up here, but Laurent did a lot of the legwork to actually make this possible. Thanks again. So cool. I thought we might just get started for all the new folks in the room, maybe helping explain a little bit about what do we mean when we say machine learning and user experience. how I like to explain it is, how do we use look at data to inform and drive UX design decisions, but also use user experience to help explain to our users what's happening on the data side, how to make those models more transparent to the end users, help them feel like they have control or could give feedback to the algorithms and systems. So I know there's just like 2 words up there of like data, UX, done, but like they're very loaded terms. So UX is, I also want to put out there, make no assumptions that you have any idea what UX is. It is user experience. It could be user experience design, which is also way more than just visual design too. It can be like really designing the whole system, could be UX research, could be interaction design, voice user interface design, like we will see today. As well as the data side. I know for all the folks who do more of the data stuff in the room, sorry that there's just like data up there. I'm lumping together machine learning, artificial intelligence, data analysis, stats, all that stuff too. So when these two come together, by their forces combined, they can make some really cool experiences. So here are some of my favorite examples. So there is the Pinterest visual search. So as you search through things, you can reseed the search visually with a one-click interaction rather than going back up to the top and researching like, I want pizza or whatever. I have looked at this so many times. I have no idea what they're searching for, but it's cool that you can like reseed the search right there. Or the Google Type Ahead, where it can find the perfect gift to celebrate that you got into law school, or Google's Quick Draw Auto Draw. I think those examples are really, really fantastic of where the user experience makes the machine learning and AI feel really intelligent, totally solves the user's problem right there. So we talk a lot about that kind of stuff. I will say our vision as a meetup, we aim to create a collaborative environment between UX, data science, and everyone in between. We aim to organize a community that helps foster cooperation, creativity, and learning across these disciplines. And our goal is to create a space to discuss human-centered machine learning and share ideas and resources. So Clinc is going to help us do that today by sharing how they approach these types of topics. And that tends to be what our talks tend to be about. We tend to hold these technical talks, so really thinking about like, hey, show us your best practices, show us a case study in which you tried something and how it works or how you might have pivoted to really make the best user experience for machine learning and data intensive systems. We also hold regular networking, happy hours, really to help foster that community, because this is a new and emerging technology. So how do we get together, share these best practices, meet each other, say hi. I really hope to, I sincerely hope that you don't think that MLUX ends like tonight and you're like, okay, done, lecture over, I'm gonna leave now. I really hope you get someone's LinkedIn or their phone number or email and follow up with them and be like, hey, I was really interested in what you were talking about, so would love to chat with you a little bit more about how do you be a data scientist for natural language generation, or how are you a UX designer for AI systems? Really, we can all learn from each other. No one here is an expert in both machine learning and UX, not even me, and I'm leading this. I have so many things that I can learn from each of you. So please hang out, share ideas, all this stuff, tweet at us, whatever. We've had the pleasure of partnering with some really cool companies. This is what we typically look like. Look, you all raised your hands too. We did that. That was fun. And so this is kind of our style of events. And big shout out to all of our past sponsors and everything too. We couldn't, is this on? Oh, it came back. Like I mentioned, we are a free event. If you couldn't tell, didn't have any fees or anything. So we wouldn't be able to do this without our fantastic sponsors and speakers. So thank you so much to our past sponsors. You probably found us through a website that looks like this, meetup.com. We have about 1,800 members, primarily in the US. I'm gonna say larger than just the Bay Area. So we do have a website if you want to check out more information. We also post all of our past talks, like this one that we are recording, onto our YouTube channel. So in case you miss it, or you're like, oh, that was a really cool thing, we want to go back to that, good news, we post it online. Share resources. We also have a Twitter too, so that's also where you will be tweeting in your questions tonight, and where you can find out more information about cool events and other cool articles and stuff too. I will say we are free, haha, but we have a Patreon. So if you feel so inspired about hey, having a ton of fun at this event, really appreciate the speakers, really appreciate all the cool stuff that y'all are able to do. Full disclosure, Our fellowship money is also running out, so thank you to our fellowship seed money who have helped fund us. Like it goes to our meetup.com subscription, our website, and everything too. But we're also looking to start a fund to invite speakers who otherwise would not be able to come and speak to us because we are free and we can't normally compensate the speakers. But what would that look like if we had a little bit of money to be like, hey, please fly out from New York and we will at least put you up in a hotel and you can come share your knowledge with us. I think that would be kind of cool. And then we would learn a bunch of stuff from outside the Bay Area. So just gonna plant that seed, food for thought. You're invited. Join us on Patreon. It's patreon.com/MLUXSF. Yeah. I will say we are larger than the Bay Area now. Oh my God, what? Did you guys know that we're gonna do our first ever event outside the Bay Area? Yeah? Woo! Yeah, we're going to New York. Yeah. Big Apple. I'm sure people from New York love that, huh? So Spotify Design is partnering with us for our first New York event called Design for ML. We're super stoked. We're going to have Christiana Che from Facebook AI and Dai Dang from Google AI. Sorry, she's on my team. I don't know why I blanked on that. So super excited about that. And if you are at all interested or out in New York on, it's going to be the 17th of October, so in a month from now, you are invited. You can go to bit.ly/MLUXNYC. You do need to go through a Google form to get a ticket. Or like if last minute you find yourself in New York, please just like find me, Michelle at MLUXSF.com. But yeah, very exciting. We're super stoked. So we're going to try it out. I've been getting emails from people saying have one in New York for the last year and a half. So we're going to try having one in New York. Also, I'm just going to mention on our website, we have a code of conduct, and by being here, you agree to it. But most importantly, MLUX can't happen without you. So if you are working as a UX designer for machine learning, or if you're a data scientist solving cool problems around experiences, if you blend ML and AI seamlessly into your UX, we would love to chat with you. We would love to see if you could possibly be a speaker about the cool stuff that you do. Like I mentioned, we have relied on the kindness of all of our past speakers and sponsors to kind of step forward and be like, hey, I have a cool thing that I want to share. Like, this is awesome. So we'd love to hear about kind of the cool stuff that you do and share out to our larger community too. Also, you might not have a talk or do those cool things, but you're just interested in it. That's awesome, and you want to support us. We are always looking for sponsors and venues like Capgemini. Thank you so much. We are always looking at, like I mentioned, for people who would like to give talks. If there's someone in your network too who you're like, that person might be a good person to give a talk, like, please let me know. We're always looking for volunteers too. No MLUX experience needed. So if you're like, I'm really excited about this and I want to spend more time with Michelle and the volunteers, like, it's fun, right, Claudia? You had a good time? Yeah, thanks. Yeah. You volunteered now a couple times, so you must like it. So thank you for doing that. Yeah. Yeah, so come on down, contact us at humans@MLUXSF. It's funny because like normally I use the robot emoji, but we're the human side. So now you won't forget it. So it goes to us, humans@MLUXSF. So that's kind of my pitch that I'm going to do. That's a little bit of context about our group. Now it's time for you all to meet each other. So turn to someone next to you, maybe share your name, why you're here tonight, and the coolest ML or UX enabled feature you've seen recently. So we'll give you like 2 minutes for that. 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. Nice. Can you hear me clap 3 times? 4 times. 5 times. 6 times. 7. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, do you all meet someone cool? Yes. Yeah? Oh, good. Then it worked. Okay, nice. We all learned something today. Really do sincerely hope that you get to follow up with these people. If there's someone else cool you didn't get a chance to talk to, please grab coffee with them afterwards or something. Yeah, so the only way we can push this field forward is by working together. So go team. All right, so on that note, I'm going to turn it over to our venue sponsor, Capgemini. Brady, do you want to come up and tell us a little bit about this awesome space?
Sure.
Oh, thank you.
With the microphone that has decided not to work tonight.
Yeah,
Sorry. Welcome, everybody. How many people this is your first time at the Applied Innovation Exchange? Everyone? Most everyone? Awesome. Great. That's good. That's what we want. I'm the program director here, and a big part of what I do is focus on how Capgemini's presence here in the Bay Area can connect with a lot of the emerging technologies and trends that are going to be valuable to our clients. We are a large systems integrator and consultancy that's headquartered in Paris, France. We have 200,000 employees worldwide. How many people had heard of Capgemini before tonight? Okay, that's pretty good. Good. We are not as well known in North America, but a big part of why we are here in San Francisco is to help build that brand presence. This is the flagship Applied Innovation Exchange, which we call the AIE because that's a lot to say. You'll see on the map behind you, there's 16 around the world. And the purpose of our AIEs is where we bring our clients who are Fortune 10, Fortune 5 global companies to be exposed to interesting technologies and interesting trends like MLUX. We host a lot of other events. We had one last week with Gary Marcus, and we'll have one in November with Tristan Harris. So if you're interested in learning more about our events, let me know. But we are also always very eager to connect with different startups, leaders, thought leaders who are developing technologies that are really going to change the world. And that was why we were really excited to welcome you all in here tonight. I also want to highlight Karen, who is going to be speaking on the panel tonight. So we have a program here called our Guest Innovator Program. Tallview is who Karen works for. They are our second guest innovator. Our first guest innovator was the Franca Emica Panda, which you will see kind of around the corner here. It's a robotic arm. But we run this program where we invite a startup with interesting technology to come and co-locate with us, work here for 3 to 6 months, and then try to kind of share best practices, share technologies, and get exposure to their clients, our clients, and really try to collaborate in a more meaningful way that isn't just the dog and pony show of a startup saying, this is what we do, and off we go. We've worked with Clinc as well before. I think you guys will talk about that tonight for one of our clients out of France. But thanks, Michelle, for all your work to organize this. Thanks, everyone, for being here. I hope you will be back again soon, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you so much. And also, like Brady mentioned, there's a ton of really great talks that happen here. So I will tweet out like a link if you are interested in figuring out like, hey, I want to come back to some of those talks. I'm super interested in the Tristan Harris talk. Going to be super interesting. So yeah, thank you so much again for letting us use the space. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to our friends at Clinc, who are going to share a little bit about their practice and how they create voice user interface and multimodal experiences.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks guys.
Does this work? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Well, oh.
You talk to because that's where the microphone for recording.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey guys, I'm really excited to be here. My name is Himi Khan. I'm head of business development at Clinc, and with me is Alex Shi.
I'm Alex Shi. I do product and engineering. We're going to be showing you our platform product, and I lead at least one of the teams on it.
Yeah, so I think what we're going to do is have a really casual conversation about what we're doing in the market, talk a little bit about the company, then really dive to the demos and show you what we're doing, with various enterprises. We are an enterprise software company, so what we do is build conversational experiences for banks, but other companies in different verticals. And so really our mission is to increase, basically increase access to knowledge and help people with their lives, whether it's financial journeys or journeys related to, consumer experiences and whatnot. So that's really what we're after. And what we're seeing is that, when you think about the next generation of experiences on the digital side, it's really going to be around voice. It's going to be around chat. It's going to be around multimodal, and it's happening everywhere. But what's not happened is there really hasn't been technology that you can deploy at scale to millions of users where you can use this stuff and it really benefits customers. And we'll be looking at some metrics and some production data that's really interesting that will give you some insights regarding how people interact with digital experiences, particularly on the conversational AI side, and how that's impacting companies themselves and how they do. So right now we focus on the financial services vertical for about two and a half years, and we've done a really good job in terms of proliferating our technology, but also providing really awesome experiences to customers of banks. So for instance, mobile banking is a key area that we're focused on for customers like US Bank, Barclays Retail, and several others. And as part of that, we also built a platform where you could build experiences. You could have analytics around what's going on with users in the mobile channel or the social channel or Alexa. And Alex helped build that platform, and it's been an amazing journey to come up with what's important from a design perspective. And so we've seen the establishment of different roles now at companies, like the conversational design engineer and the conversational designer, which didn't really exist a couple of years ago, and helping companies, in that journey. In terms of business performance, I think it's always good to talk about that because we are in a competitive industry, and there are a lot of competitors. There's a lot of noise, and we still are an early stage company. And so one interesting stat is we have 30% market share of the top 20 banks, including one of the banks that we met at this exchange, one of the top 3 banks in France. And so we chose banks because we wanted to really work solving a difficult problem, which was personal finance. And so we've done that in the mobile app. And banks also tend to be a very difficult customer to work with because of the regulatory nature, and it's a highly regulated business. And so that's been a tough journey, but one that's been worthwhile. And most recently, in terms of kind of the financial side, it's hard not to talk about it, but we had a $53 million Series B round led by Insight and DFGA, which we closed about 2 months ago. And that was important because it was the largest funding round for a conversational vendor to date. And we're going to put a lot of that money to use in terms of R&D and really taking these experiences to the next level. So with that, I'm going to jump into the demo. Hopefully the demo is going to work, which it should. Okay, so the only issue is the sound. We just want to make sure that's okay. So what I'm going to do is demo our PFM product, our personal financial management product. So I'm going to the key differentiator for Clinc, and I didn't really talk about this at length, is really that our AI can handle very messy language, can handle very complex statements, but also more importantly hold context. And what that means, it leads to a very human-like experience, human in the room experience, which is what's been really missing from the other large-scale platforms that are out there. So let me start with some very basic questions, and I'll get more complicated over time. Oops. Hey, what's my balance?
As of September 26, 2019, you had a total of about $15,000 in your demo savings, investment, and demo checking accounts. The balances and most recent transactions from your accounts are shown below.
Oh yeah, that was fast. He came up really fast. He was like, turn it down. We were playing some DJ Khaled before, so we might put that back on. So, yeah, I'm actually going on PTO tomorrow to Peru, so my flight's at 1:30 a.m., so I'll try to stay focused on the work at hand, even though I'm kind of getting distracted. When you get into vacation mode, you're like, work? So, all right, so let's try this again. Hey, what's my balance? Whoa, hold on. Let me just regroup here. Okay. Hey, what's my balance?
As of September 26, 2019, you had a total of about $15,000 in your demo savings, investment, and demo checking accounts. The balances and most recent transactions from your accounts are shown below.
Just cover yours. It's not a big deal. So look, I was traveling in California last year and I spent a bunch of money on food. Can you tell me how much I spent on food?
You spent about 1,000.
I can't hear you. Yeah. So typically the experiences we build
Total
are
spending from January 1st, 2018 to January 1st, 2019.
what about on travel?
You spent about $219 from your 3 bank accounts on travel in California, which is 0.58% of your total spending from January 1st, 2018 to January 1st, 2019.
So Alex is going to talk a little bit later about how we actually design and train the models, but really we took the AI kept context, switched out the actual spending category, and was able to do it pretty seamlessly. In terms of UX, like we typically have this be able to function both from a chat perspective and a voice perspective. So that's the way we've typically approached these problems around analytics, where you're surfacing analytics about a particular user, and so there's typically a graphical piece to it or an image object, but also the voice that comes on. And you can turn this off if you go into a bus, for instance, and you don't want to speak to it. It's completely chat operable as well. Let me keep going with some of the more complex querying. Okay, well, can you tell me about my last 5 transactions on food?
Here are the last 5 transactions on food and drink over the last 3 months in your 3 bank accounts.
Okay, well, I've been drinking a lot of coffee at Starbucks, and I think I might have caffeine poisoning, but can you just tell me about my last 3 transactions at Starbucks?
Here are the last transactions on Starbucks over the last 3 months in your 3 bank accounts.
So that was a pretty complex sentence. I threw in a lot of messy speech in there and was able to extract the slots and provide an answer. Hey, look, I really like Michelle, and I want to take her out to a really expensive dinner tonight. Can I spend $5,000 on dinner?
Based on your spending habits, spending an additional $5,000 on restaurants would put you 1706.81% above your average monthly spending. This would reduce your balance to about $10,000.
Well, look, I want to buy my son the latest pair of Air Jordans, the black and white ones. He loves them to death. So can I spend $300 on shoes today?
Based on your spending habits, spending an additional $300 on clothing and accessories would put you 58.61% above your average monthly spending. This would reduce your balance to about $15,000.
Alex and I went out to the Mission last night. I think he did something to the drinks. But anyway, we had a bunch of tequila shots, and I basically woke up somewhere crazy. Did I spend any money yesterday? Can you tell me that?
You did not spend
Okay.
any money from
So
your
I tried-
3 bank
so-
accounts on ATM over the last 1 day.
So we were at Finovate. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a big financial services conference. We try to break our AI in front of hundreds of people. We're not afraid. So whenever you do come across chatbot, AI, people, vendors, always ask them to demo live, demo in voice, and demo with complexity the way you'd speak to kind of an assistant if you were in a rush or something like that. So that's extremely important to note in our journeys going forward. Okay, so so I want to open a new account. How do I do that?
To open an account, I will need your name, address, and the type of account that you would like to open. What type of account would you like to open?
Yeah, my name's John Smith. I live on 555 California Street in San Francisco, California, and I want to open a checking account.
Let me confirm your open account request. I have the type of account you want to open to be a checking account, your name to be John Smith, and your address to be 555 California Street, San Francisco, California. Is this correct?
Actually, the name is Mary Smith.
Let me confirm your open account request. I have the type of account you want to open to be a checking account, your name to be Mary Smith, and your address to be 555 California Street, San Francisco, California. Is this correct?
Can we change it to a savings account?
Let me confirm your open account request. I have the type of account you want to open to be a savings account, your name to be Mary Smith, and your address to be 555 California Street, San Francisco, California. Is this correct?
So the way we do, yeah, that's correct.
Okay, I've completed your open account request.
So you'll see in the design process, the way we have, leveraging our state graph, you can actually you're able to swap out slots, and it's really helpful to do that, and it increases containment rates and all these other metrics because you have that functionality that in kind of the traditional systems where you have this tree framework, the AI tends to break and your containment rates are like super poor. Let me just do a few more and then we'll continue. I think we have enough.
Question.
Yeah.
Can you ask it to create an account for your actual name, so not like a safe name like Mary Smith? Like
Yeah, I could try, yeah.
And also using referential language, so like get the example. I spent a lot of money at Starbucks. How much did I spend at Starbucks? Can you use like this? Or how much do I spend there?
Well, let's try it.
Yeah.
Also, love the questions.
Yeah.
If we could save them for the panel time, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just pencil that.
Yeah. I'd have you come out and test it, so because I'm kind of lazy. Hey, I want to spend. How much did I spend at Starbucks? I want to know how much I spent at Starbucks. How much did I spend there?
You spent $16.35 from your 3 bank accounts on Starbucks, which is 1.68% of your restaurant's spending over the last 3 months.
Check. Okay. And then the next one is I'll use my name, Himi Khan. So and if it doesn't get it, what you do typically is you'll just type in like the thing. So yeah. I want to open a new account.
To open an account, I will need your name, address, and the type of account that you would like to open. What type of account would you like to open?
So instead of giving it a one go, I'll just do the name. So we test the name thing. My name's Himi Khan.
To open an account, I will need your name, address, and the type of account that you would like to open.
Okay, so it doesn't
What
recognize
type
my
of
name.
account would you like to open?
I'm gonna try it one more time. My name's Himi Khan.
To open an account, I will need
It's
your
not-
name,
it's not-
address,
it's not-
and the type of account that
Names
you
are
would
hard.
like to open.
But let's
What type of
I
account
love
would you
this
like to
scenario, though. I
open?
mean, we definitely love doing that and trying to figure out what it brings.
Well, let's see if
we
it-
should come play with it after.
To open an
Oh,
account, I will
it's
need
not
your
true- it's
name,
not true.
address, and the type of account that you would like to open.
anything else?
What type of account would you like to open?
Keep going. Okay. Yeah. So we welcome that, and so we just actually finished. I was just telling someone we just trained the first conversational AI in Japanese that's not using Lex, and it's working really well. And so one of the issues there was names. And so the way you deal with that is you train the AI in terms of the different types of names. And this is like more of a demo thing that we have. But for production level, deployments, that's something that we've worked on. Let me do a few more and then we can go on. Yeah.
Sure.
So I want to change my withdrawal limit. How do I do that?
What withdrawal limit would you like and for which account? Also, if this is temporary, when would you like it to end?
Yeah, can you make my withdrawal limit $500 for my checking account ending next week?
Let me confirm your withdrawal limit request. I have the account to update to be your checking account, the withdrawal limit to be $500, and the end date to be October 7th, 2019. Is this correct?
I actually want to take Eva to Vegas, so I think I want to make my withdrawal limit $100,000.
Let me confirm your withdrawal limit request. I have the account to update to be your checking account, the withdrawal limit to be $100,000, and the end date to be October 7th, 2019. Is this correct?
Look, I just checked with our CFO, and she thinks it's a terrible idea and it's a massive career mistake. So can you just make the withdrawal limit $5?
Let me confirm your withdrawal limit request. I have the account to update to be your checking account, the withdrawal limit to be $5, and the end date to be October 7th, 2019. Is this correct?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, I've
We'll do a couple
completed your
more.
withdrawal limit request.
Okay. I'll just like keep it moving. So we can go on, and obviously this is for personal finance, but we've developed assistance for different verticals, and we'll touch upon that right now. So just quickly, some of the interesting things that we look at are how well the AI is doing, and this is more of a little bit more of a marketing side, but I think it's a slide, but it's important to see the containment rates. So you want containment rates or accuracy. And so I don't know in terms of your journey, like if you guys are building chatbots, you're building AI, what kind of containment rates you're seeing. But we get measured by our enterprise clients, and they're very vigorous about that, like in terms of what we need to hit. Because if you don't hit certain metrics, we don't get paid. So it's kind of important to do that. And I think that's where the bar is going as you move forward in the next 3 to 5 years, just what the AI can do. So if I'm talking to Alexa and I say play the third song of in Hamilton, that's a pretty easy thing to say. But when I start throwing messy language at it, it doesn't work. But for enterprise clients, like they're not going to allow that, right? They're going to want the AI, especially when you're talking about personal finances, mission critical applications, that the AI is going to hit it on the head like every single time. And so it's really important. The other thing that we're going to touch upon is how we have an automated platform, and we do data collection curation. We leverage crowdsourcing. And one thing that's important for organizations is rapid prototyping. When we say rapid prototyping, we don't mean, turn the light off or what's the weather. We're talking about much more complex conversations, form filling, analytics as a service. So it's a very important thing because you have multiple groups that are trying to leverage it. So the system itself needs to operate really well. And obviously CSAT scores are important, and then the scalability of the platform. Consumer is an important area, and that's where a lot of the learnings are happening. But on the enterprise side, on the B2B2C side, the deployments are going to get larger and larger. The largest deployment in the world right now for AI is on the enterprise side, I believe, is the Erica platform for Bank of America. The second largest is Işbank in Turkey. So the Erica platform is about 9 million, I think, monthly actives. We're doing the second largest, which is Işbank in Turkey at about 6 million. The goal is 6 million active in the next 3 years. So with that, let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, absolutely. So multi-language is important. I don't know if some of you guys have done work in non-English languages, but we've done work in Japanese, I mentioned, Turkish, and working on other languages as well. So that's an important consideration for the platform you're using and being able to train the machine learning models and making those configurations in different languages. And we have offices throughout the world now and continue to grow. So like I mentioned, we were focused on financial services, so that's where a lot of the spending was from a business perspective, but it's expanded quite a bit into automotive. We're working with Ford right now, healthcare as well, with some medical device companies there, and food service, doing work with Chick-fil-A, companies like that. And then it's not on here, but the aerospace defense industry, working with one of the big avionics suppliers in the next generation fighter jet, being able to provide really voice-assisted controls of the aircraft, not in dogfights, but more standard exercises. So Alex, you want to touch on this one maybe a little bit?
Sure. So this is just talking about basic experiences and what it means to ship a production conversational agent, right? So one of the things we found is it's super important to think about what it means to create something great, and then sort of look at the metrics and figure out, what it looks like and how can we figure out if something's good. And so one of the things we're expecting very early on when we are talking with people who are shipping across various industries is we are expecting that you might see a graph like this, right? So you may ship, and then we have what we internally call slope of disappointment, where we think, hey, maybe there's going to be a point where people don't trust it yet, or it's not good enough. And we're going to see this decrease in engagement. But as time goes on, hopefully we can figure out how to make it good enough. And then hopefully we'll hit some sort of plateau where we know we're good enough, we have a plateau on engagement and so on. So this is the kind of thing we're hoping for, and what we've seen is if we can build really great experiences, then we see something completely different. So here's some data. It's from Işbank, which is the largest bank in Turkey, and this is basic average number of users, basic weekly growth, and we are expecting a drop and then a plateau, and instead
go back real quick.
Yeah, and instead what we're seeing is people sort of going on it and increasing their amount of use. And I think the cool thing is the next graph, which we didn't expect at all. But basically, this is number of queries per user per week. And so we have the number of users going up, but they're also coming back and asking more queries, which is really cool, right? So basically what it indicates is that if we can build a really good experience, then we're basically creating new behaviors. People try it, they check it out, they start to trust it, and then you're going to see the engagement go up. So this is a really important thing, but it's a very interesting insight we've seen from our most successful production deployments. And you can expect data that looks like this when we build really good experiences.
Experience matters.
Experience matters.
Yeah.
Oh, here, let's start.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, so I'm going to start real quick. Okay. Actually, I'm just really curious who's in the room from both sides, data and UX side. So can people who work with data or AI raise your hands? Data, AI. Okay, and then what about on the UX side? Oh, cool. So it's like half-half. That's like pretty good. Also, what about people who use conversational experiences? People use Alexa, Siri, so on. What about people who build them? Oh, cool. Okay. What about people who build the platforms that people use to build them? Okay, we've got a couple. Cool. Cool. We're one of them. We're gonna sort of dive into it. One of the things that we're excited about is just showing you the platform we build. We like to show, not tell, like with a demo. So we're going to show you our experiences, and then we're going to show you some of the platform behind it and like how we think about building this stuff. So, but yeah, first thing, experience really matters. This is literally the first thing we think about all the time. It's in any single vertical, what experience is compelling enough where we're going to see this type of graph, right? And if we don't believe this is possible, then we have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what do we need to make this happen, right? So, backwards. I'm going the wrong way. So the way we approach it is pretty, well, I guess the way we've approached it for our most successful engagements, because we actually end up working with enterprises and a lot of different verticals, is we go through these steps pretty much. We say, basically, what will create a really good experience? We want to define that. We want to understand user problems. And then, once we know what we want to build, we want to say, okay, what kind of technology we need to build? What kind of AI models do we need to build? How do these models have to get stitched together? What other problems do we have to solve? Let's solve these problems and make sure we can ship something great. But it all starts from the experience, which actually I was thinking about these two things, and it basically maps to Michelle's thing, right? Which is like data UX. And so it's actually really cool having everybody in the room, and we found it to be super important. So I'm gonna go through a couple of examples of what it's meant for us to start with the experience, and then what it means to build the technology that helps us solve these experiences. And then I'm gonna jump into a platform demo to just make it more concrete, showing you guys what it takes to build some of these experiences. Cool. So first example is, we look at how people talk, and we say, hey, one of our goals is we want people to trust this thing. We want them to just talk to it like a human would talk to it and understand. So what does it mean for a human to be able to speak and for us to just understand, right? And so one of the important bits is understanding messy language. It turns out people, whether they're typing or they are speaking, they don't speak in perfect English with perfect grammar. What they end up doing is using a variety of different things, right? So if you're asking about something like, how much did I spend last week? What did I spend last week, right? There's different things somebody could do. One person could be typing it into a chatbot and they misspell a word. And all of a sudden, you have this messy noise. It's like, okay, what's this person actually trying to say? We have to deal with these kind of things. It's possible that people use slang or different ways of saying things like, how much cash did I drop? And they're not asking directly about spending, but they're basically asking about their spending. We need to be able to understand this type of stuff. And just one more example, man, I spent a ton last week, how much did I drop? So the idea is that you could just try to understand the first one, how much did I spend last week? But if you're trying to create a great experience, you want people to understand that you handle spending and just ask however they would want to ask. So that's one of the big problems that we've attacked. We're pretty proud of what we've done. the demo you just saw, basically, right? Like Himi could just speak to it however we wanted to speak, and it understands it. So sort of bringing it back to the technology that it takes to build this, we take a different approach to building the actual AI models and basically handling language. So what a lot of people have historically done in the natural language processing space is to think about grammar, basically, right? What you do is you take a sentence, you try to figure out, the nouns, verbs, adverbs, you try to break it down, and then if you can break it down, then you figure out like what a person's trying to ask, where the noun is, and so on. And this kind of stuff is really cool in theory, and there's a lot of work behind it, but it doesn't solve these messy problems, right? It's like people don't speak in real language and they have typos and all this type of stuff. So we've basically built from scratch new ways of doing classification that are completely data-driven. They don't rely on grammar. They don't rely on any rules or patterns or regular expressions. What we want to do is make it so you can just pass in strings and it learns how to figure out what a person's trying to say. And so that's one of the sort of big challenges that we've tackled early on. And it's been really important in helping people actually trust the conversational bot. So another, these things sound kind of obvious when you talk about it like as a human, but they bring up really important problems. So I'm just sort of bringing up some of them. The second one is just messy like information transmission, right? So for example, like when we're trying to make a transfer and we want to know the amount, you want to know the source account, you want to know the destination account, people can say this stuff in all kinds of ways. So a person could say, like, I want to make a transfer, and they have no information, and then you have to take it from there. And then they can provide different combinations of the information. They can also come back and correct it, like you saw. And so what you actually want is a way to basically handle this messy information transmission and then corrections and so on in a very robust way. And so, and then bring it back to the technology, one thing we've done is just rethink how we handle conversational state. So for those in the room who do conversational design, one of the things you've probably seen is a graph that looks like this. So, they go, okay, well, we need to start at the top. We want to prompt the user. Based upon the things the user says, we're going to go to a different part in this tree. And then we just keep walking this tree, and we hope that it covers everything that the user actually wants to do, right? But this is actually, it's very brittle if you start to ask stuff or have combinations of sentences or words that are not on it, or you're just looping around multiple times, then it doesn't handle it very well. So we've sort of rethunk how you handle conversational context. And one of the things that we do is we think about basically conversational states. So we don't think about like a strict graph, but we think about different states a conversation can be in, the amount of information you have, what the user's trying to do. And once we define these, then we design around it. So for example, for transfer or for fraud or whatever, we might think there's just like one state where we're collecting information. And if there was like a confirmation state, like with transfer, then maybe another state where we're confirming and so on. But we think in a different way, which allows us to basically handle this messy information transmission problem.
Yeah, and it's
much
like a much more richer experience because you can go in asking about a particular topic and then like around say, how much you spent, but then say, by the way, did that check clear, right? Like in the next sentence, and like basically be able to manage that conversation. The satisfaction levels of a user when you can do that is like pretty important. So if you think about banks, like they have checking, you have your bank account, but then you might have like a retirement account, and you have like all these different areas that you can access if you've trained the AI properly, which you just can't do with existing stuff out there.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and then just one more example. There's a ton of them actually. So this is the beginning. I kind of want to get the conversation started, but like, please come up and talk to us, and we're happy to talk about any other problems we've been facing and so on. But one of the things we come across is just that there's a lot of different ways people say things. And it turns out, based upon where a person lives, whether from New York or Boston or the South or some other country, they use different slangs, or someone is just more verbose. Some people like quick, concise sentences. You want to be able to handle all this stuff. And so it's basically, instead of thinking about conversational experiences as you controlling a bot, you want to be able to understand all this variation. And so that's one of the problems we found very important when basically asking users to just talk to a bot that they imagine would support a certain capability. And then so bring it back to the tech, there's a lot we do in trying to make sure that we can handle this robust variation in what people can say. And so one of the things we built is basically with our models, we've designed around needing to collect and curate large amounts of data. So I think the people in the room who have used or built bots will probably understand most, but there's a lot of tools where you want to just add something like 10 example utterances. And the idea is that the hope is that's enough to get you on the path to having a good, robust experience. And we found just like that doesn't work. You actually need hundreds or thousands of utterances, and you want power tools that'll help you crowdsource utterances and curate them, test them, and so on. And so we have sort of a patented data collection. We do a lot of research actually we publish in different academic conferences. And we do a lot of work on like how do you collect robust data, how do you look at it, what's the variation in it, how do you curate it, and so on. When you have problems, how do you figure out what part of it is wrong? Is there data imbalance here or there, and so on.
I like the title, Them. It's from a competitive deck, so it's like, should be rest of industry, but anyway.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so just bring it back, and I mainly talked about user experience and technology. I wanted to just do a really quick demo, just so you guys can get a feel for the platform and what it means to build conversational experiences and so on. So I think for you people who have built them, then it may be interesting because we approach problems in a slightly different way, and so you'll see it. And if you're not, it may be cool just to see, one real quick bot get built.
Cool.
So let's hop in. Escape.
This is the exciting part of the
I'm not used to that touch bar. Okay. I've kind of. What is? Oh, it's right here.
Yeah, you
okay.
are.
Cool.
Present, hold your speaker.
Huh? Oh yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're just going to go into our platform and just we're going to build a really simple bot, and it's gonna let you order a pizza, right? So if you imagine you're ordering a pizza, you may want to be able to tell it pizza size, set of pizza toppings. You may want the ability to correct the toppings and correct the size, and then you want to be able to say, yes, that's correct, the pizza's ordered, right? So let's build that. Okay, so we're in our, hold on. Let me just full screen this guy. Okay, so we are in our platform. We'll create a new version or project, and we'll call it MLUX Fun. Yay. Okay. And I'll just, let's just say pizza ordering bot. Cool. So what it'll do is it's going to copy over a bunch of stuff we need to get started on a project, and then we'll get into it.
Can I ask a question while we're doing that?
Yeah, go for it.
How often do you need to, and if you could repeat it, how often are you creating new versions?
Maybe use the mic.
I can just repeat it.
I can ask you. Go ahead.
Okay, so the first thing you'll see is, like we talked about, we have the notion of a conversational state graph, and this means that these are all the places your conversation can go. So right now we're pretty simple. We start at the root state, and if you say hi or bye, then we'll understand it and give you a response. So what I can do is pop on the side, type hi, and it'll think a little bit, and then I'll say hello back, right? So what we want to do now is we want to add a set of states, add a set of abilities such that we can order a pizza. So I'll hop on over.
So terminology-wise, like competency is really like a topic area.
Yeah.
So like we'll walk into a room and there'll be a massive problem around something. It's a massive problem.
Pizza ordering.
Pizza ordering is one, but like it's something bigger around like say payments. Like we want to have the AI know everything about payments, and so we'll leverage what's called a scoping session, where we actually divide payments up into different natural topics that subject matter experts and we kind of discuss, and that becomes a foundation for what we call a competency, which is almost like a master intent. But that's a really important part of like how we work, because unless you have some idea of what these major topics are, it's really difficult to build scalable AI. So anyway, competency is that. I just want to define that.
Oh yeah. So we think about competencies in sort of a problem area, or a place where we want to be able to provide an answer or a solution to the user. And it can be as simple as one of these states, with like hello, goodbye. It could be a lot more complicated, for example, for pizza ordering and so on. Oh, we're getting all these tweets. Nice. Okay. Okay, cool. So I'm kind of gonna gloss over some stuff. We have sort of the power tools built in such that you can build out a state graph. But one thing we've noticed, as you could probably tell, is there's certain patterns that pop up a lot. And one of these patterns is just the ability to collect data and confirm that it exists. And so because this pattern appears so often, we have a particular template called confirmational, where if you just say this is a confirmational template, then we'll do a bunch of stuff to create parts of the graph that you need in order to build this type of template, just to make it quick and easy to get started. So what I'll do is I'll start with a pizza. Oh, hold on. Okay, I got it. Pizza. We'll do pizza order. I'll click confirmational. And then what we'll do is slots are the information that we need to have, right? So in this case, we need to know pizza size, and we want to know pizza toppings. I spelled that wrong. Okay, toppings. And then what we'll do is we'll say, because we want to confirm stuff, we also want to confirm both of them. Let's say we want to confirm pizza size, we want to confirm the pizza topping. And then what slot must contain only underscores and alphanumeric characters. Is it trailing space? What happened? Oh, that trailing space. Oh, okay. The team just changed this UI. Okay. Oh, there's another trailing space. Man, okay. Feedback. Pizza topping. Pizza size. Pizza topping. And so now what's happening is, like I mentioned, it's creating all of these states. And I'm just gonna really quickly walk through each of these states. But it's built, a bunch of states connected to root state. It says if we detect that you're interested in ordering a pizza, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to this pizza order state, and we're gonna know you're trying to order a pizza. You're gonna see a loopback edge right here, meaning that there are all kinds of ways a person can try to order a pizza, all kinds of ways they can try to confirm or change it. And so there's lots of ways that we can come back to this state. And then we may want to be confirming it, we may want to be able to cancel it, we may want to say it's incorrect, and so on. If we try to confirm the pizza size and pizza toppings, and they say yes, then we'll go over here, and here's where we actually place the pizza order, and then we tell them, hey, you successfully ordered a pizza, expect it in 5 minutes or something, 10 minutes. So what happens is, this is the structure behind the conversation, and what ends up happening is this turns into a set of models that need to get created in order to make this possible, right? there are two. So for this particular archetype, we've done a good amount of work for you. So the only transition you have to think about, or data sets you have to think about, are the ones in red, saying like, how do I get from my root state to into pizza order, and then how do I update my pizza orders? And so what we're going to do is we're going to go in. We're going to add just a couple of utterances as examples of how you may order a pizza.
And crowdsourcing too is something we'll touch on.
Yeah. So what we'll see here is, we click on pizza order. It tells us that we're in the pizza order state. There's multiple transitions, and one of the things we want to figure out is how to start a pizza order. So we'll click in here. So like I mentioned, we actually have pretty powerful crowdsourcing tools. I'm not going to do them right now because it takes maybe like 20 minutes to collect a couple hundred utterances. So what we're going to do is build a super baby brain, and it'll be good enough for us to check it out and know that it works. And then later on, if we were to want to go to production, we'd use a certain methodology and launch a bunch of different crowdsourced jobs. So when we're starting a pizza order, there's a lot of ways a person might say it, right? Like I mentioned, with the different combinations of transmitting information. So a person might say, pizza, please, right? You could say, I'm starving, give me a cheese pizza. Can I get a small sausage and pepperoni pizza? I want a large Hawaiian pizza, please. One thing you'll notice, it's, like I mentioned, it's okay to have some misspellings. What we want to do is we actually want to have data that reflects things people could type in or say. And so it's not a bad thing, really. Actually, it's good. I want a medium pizza with sausage and mushrooms. So let's just do that. We have 5 examples. We'll save this data set and we'll say, okay, now our bot has some data to get initially into this pizza ordering state. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to say, okay, well, there's lots of ways people can update a pizza order. And this is a different data set because the sets of things you may say are different, right? So if I'm trying to get in pizza, then I may say, I want to order a pizza. Whereas if you're updating it, like that utterance is much less likely. And what you're going to say stuff is change that to a large, or can I have that with pepperoni on it also, or something. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 5 utterances just so we have some data on the update slot, but it may be something like make that a large. Can I get a medium with cheese, a small with sausage and mushroom? Can I add a pepperoni to that? A small, please. Okay,
I think there's still food outside if anyone's hungry.
Cool. And so after we save this, we now have all the data we need to start moving around this graph. And the next thing we need to do is we need to actually be able to extract information. So if we know someone's trying to order a pizza, then we might want to pull out the pizza toppings, we might want to pull out the pizza size. And those are actually separate AI models in this network of AI models that need to get created. And so what we'll do is, just to make it fast, I'm going to select some of these guys and just copy them over. So we'll do select all, copy to SVP. That's slot value pairing. It's our term for pairing slots with values within the utterance. So we'll do done, and then I'll also just go back to our other one. I'll select all, copy to SVP. Done. Okay. And then now what we have is, we have our slots that I mentioned, we have our pizza size, we have our pizza toppings, and what I'm going to do is go into the unlabeled section, which tells us all the data that's unlabeled. Normally what we do is we'd launch a crowdsourced job and we'd say, hey, I don't want to manually label all this stuff. but people on Mechanical Turk are happy to help us out. And so we would usually do that, but for now, I'll just manually label some of these. So just bear with me a second here. Size, topping, size, topping, topping, size, topping, size, topping, 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 size. All right, and let's save this. Okay, cool. So now we have a set of data to help us move around the conversation. We have sets of data for us to be able to extract information out of it. And this is all we need. So we'll press the train button, and we'll train our little baby brain up. So we can't expect it to be very robust. It doesn't know a lot, but it can start understanding some of these questions, and it can start understanding some of our corrections and so on. So we'll continue, pop into the test, and say something like, I want pizza. And as you see, it'll say, you know, I matched you to pizza order start, and I noticed that there are no pizza sizes or pizza toppings. So what we can do is we can start to update it now. We can say, I want a small pizza with mushrooms and sausage. And as you see, it pulled out small, it pulled out mushrooms and sausage. And now it has enough information to confirm. So it says, okay, let me confirm your order. I have this information. And so like you guys saw in the graph, you can actually go around and update this as many times as you want, just because that's how it's designed. But yeah, I mean, we have our basics of a bot. So cool.
Cool, awesome. Nice work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was, is there anything else?
Let me
to
see if there's
cover?
any other slides. Yeah, one
go
sec,
there.
right here.
Yeah. Let's make sure we touched everything.
Platform demo.
Okay.
No, I guess, you
Good.
know, like I mentioned, this is just the start of the conversation. We'd love to meet people who are thinking about these problems. You know, this is just a start, and there's lots of really interesting design problems and technical problems here. And then this is just a start on just how to build on the platform. So we'd be happy to talk to you guys and do more. Also, we are actively hiring right now. We've just raised $53 million. And we have a lot of very successful production deployments. We have a lot in the sales pipeline and a lot of other verticals, very cool verticals popping up in gaming and healthcare. And what else? You know, all of them. Everywhere. Pizza ordering.
Yeah,
I
so
mean, you're gonna be able
Made
to
one,
do that soon, and you're gonna be able to build something and then tell Domino's that they should use it. So yeah, we're actively hiring full stack engineers. We're hiring people on, well, I think we're not actively hiring UX design, but we are not unactively hiring on. Please talk to us. We're certainly interested in talking to people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then also business, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the business, we're looking for smart people that know how the markets work, and that's really what as you know, there's a lot of players in the market, and as a designer, there's a plethora of tools available to you. So really, from a business standpoint, it's really about differentiating, working with our product teams very closely, our design teams, but explaining, the art of the possible, explaining like how this is differentiated in probably one of the competitive sectors of the economy right now, and it's not going to change forever. So that's if you guys have some good business acumen and insights regarding what you've seen and how you think can be packaged in the market, we're eager to hear your thoughts, because that's the fight we fight every day. So yeah, cool. Thank you.
Thank you. You want to take that mic with you?
Yeah.
Oh, is this still working? Not sure. Well, that was awesome. I don't think we've ever had a talk where we make a bot live, so I think that was really cool. How many of you, that process is new to you, making a chatbot or buoy bot? Oh, a lot of you. Nice. Yeah. How many of you do that every day as part of your job? Yeah, a couple of you. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I have to say that was a really cool and definitely a lot different than some of the other ones that I have seen. So super cool. Thank you so much for demoing that with us. Now we're going to move into the panel discussion. So I have seen a couple questions come through. So thank you folks for already tweeting in your questions. Fantastic. I just kind of want to set the tone as to like why we chose to invite Clinc and Talview up here to share with us these things. Really, we want to be sharing those best practices. We want to be thinking about like, hey, what is something that we can take back to our team tomorrow? Like, I want you all to be so excited that you go to your team stand up and you don't even want to give a report on what you're currently working on. You're like, oh my God, I saw this chatbot. It was so cool. We had a bot. It's cool. Pizza. Awesome. We also want to showcase what multimodal and chatbot design could look like, what it can accomplish, and really like think about these case studies, help us understand the emerging field of like more and more of these experiences, like Himi mentioned, are moving towards voice user interface design and chatbot design. So yeah, so like I mentioned, please tweet at MLUX SF any questions. But without further ado, I'd like to invite our panelists. Come on down. Da 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 da. Sweet. Awesome. So
what's the rule? Do we have to sit under our name? Or
Yeah, you have to sit under your name.
Sure.